Thank you so much, everyone.
I got my daughter sitting in front row, so if I'm distracted at any point, please forgive me.
They look so proud, riveted. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I think the art of influence entrepreneurship is such an important topic. So this creator economy is predicted to be worth $480 billion by 2027. But out of the 50 million people globally who consider themselves creators, only 4% make more than $100,000 a year. And so I think the way monetization changes, the way the creator economy evolves, it's moved so much beyond ad revenue and brand deals. So I am thrilled to be joined by Keith Lee to talk about the importance of entrepreneurship as a content creator.
Honored to be here.
So, Keith, I think we have a little video about you, but you have 20 million followers. You started your TikTok in November 2020. You were on Forbes 30 under 30 this year. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you've reviewed like over 250 restaurants, transforming people's lives and families' lives in something that's now been called the Keith Lee effect.
Absolutely. God is amazing.
It's pretty amazing. I think we had a video to play.
I got it. Let's try it and really want to see it. Soft apples with a crispy dough. Apple pie, I don't really get that vibe, but apple tart, apple croissant, apple strudel, something like that. Whatever it is, it's a 9 out of 10 in my opinion. This is a strawberry banana. This is a strawberry banana pudding.
I lied. It's not even a taste test. This is one of my favorite spots that I go to. It's more just nostalgia, but I am gonna show you this one. This is one of my favorites. First thing we ate was this outfit. This outfit is fire. This is unreleased merch that me and my family made.
Lamb chops, turkey chops. This is Nutella Danish.
Peach chutney wings. I ain't never had a peach flavored wing before. That's a delicious wing. This is one of them ones. Yeah, Frank. Yeah, Frank. I'm coming back and I'm shaking your hand. I don't even want nothing else. I just want a handshake.
So
I'm hungry now.
I remember the Nutella Danish video so well. So at Digital Voices, we work with thousands of creators from 40 different countries. We have seen, I mean, for lots of different brands, including like the DoorDash work we've done together, Pepsi, Adobe, we've seen so much. But we actually have a special award for you today. Because in 2024, we looked at, out of every single content creator we'd worked with, we looked at who had consistently driven really incredible views, who had consistently driven some of the highest engagement rate numbers we've ever seen. You were in like, I think 7 of your videos were in our top 10 of the year, which is crazy.
I didn't know any of this.
Didn't know this.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And you also, it's like your impact isn't just views. It transforms people's businesses. It transforms families' lives. So I just wanted to say thank you so much. We're going to present you with a little Creator of the Year award from Digital Voices.
Hey, that's crazy. I had no idea this was about to happen. I'm not lying. Oh, thank you.
There you go. So,
Oh, that's fire. Look, Mama.
Yeah, you can give it to the
You want
kids.
it?
They want
Here.
it.
Look, it's yours.
Aww. So thank you for being a part of, like, I started Digital Voices 8 years ago with like
Thank you.
$700, and I never thought I would get to be here. Like, so grateful to you. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Shout out to Digital Voices, man.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
So we have a little video about the Creator of the Year. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you, man.
You're welcome.
Again, I'm honored. I literally, when I tell you, I had no idea that was about to happen. Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, there you go. Thank you very much.
None of this would
for
be
being part of
possible without y'all that's sitting in this crowd right now, and I really want y'all to know that, and I appreciate y'all.
Oh. So I want to hear so much more of your story. So where did it all start, and why did you first start posting back in 2020?
So I originally started posting back in 2020 because I've been a professional fighter for 10 years, and I've always had social anxiety. So I initially just started recording myself to get over the hump of having social anxiety, because I would do interviews for fighting, and I would be so nervous. Like, I literally would be like hands shaking, palms sweaty, wouldn't be able to function after I got done with the interview or before I did the interview. So I literally, during the pandemic, while my wife was pregnant, with that one right there.
Shout out to
That's
Ronnie.
holding the Creator of the Year award. I literally, when she was pregnant with her, I was sitting in the house, and it was during the pandemic, and I was living with my sister, living with my wife, living with, again, she was pregnant, and I was just like, what can I do to get over this hump that makes any like day-to-day interactions really almost unbearable for me. So I just set up the camera. TikTok was going around at the time, but it still was like an app where people was like shaking their hips and like and dancing and doing like the renegade.
We try and ignore that part
Yeah.
of TikTok history.
Yeah, it was in that era. Yeah. So it wasn't necessarily what it is today. So I had no idea where it would go. I just set up the camera and pretended like it was 1,000 people sitting in my living room, and I had like 4 or 5 followers. And I just would cook for my wife like 4 times a day and just pretend as if I was cooking for as many people as sitting right here today. Yeah, so it's a full circle moment for me to be here.
Amazing. So it started with food. You wanted. Why did you choose food as your first kind of?
So as a professional fighter, that's almost like the epicenter of what it is that you do. Yes, you punch people in the face, right? Of course, that comes with it. But one of the main things is making weight. So I used to walk around at like 165 pounds to 170 pounds, and I fought at 135 pounds. So at any given time, they can call me and be like, hey, you have to make weight within 4 to 6 weeks, sometimes even 2 to 3 weeks. And the main way to do that, of course, is training hard and constantly training 4 times a day. But it was really being focused on diet. So during my entire career, even when I was in high school and middle school, I was always surrounded around food dietitians, people who are really deep into the science of food, of why you eat what you eat and when you should eat what you're supposed to eat. So I just always was surrounded about people who had a passion for food, and it kind of like lingered onto me. I think anybody in a combat sport era has a very deep passion for food. I'm just blessed enough to be able to have a platform to show it.
I love that you weren't nervous about getting hit in the face. You were nervous about the talking.
For sure. Yeah. For sure.
And then at what point did you start reviewing restaurants, and where did that come into the story?
So I started in December of 2022. We got invited to be on a channel called People vs. Food, which is like is anybody in here familiar with People vs. Food? Yeah, it's like a YouTube channel, and they basically do food reviews. And I asked my wife, and I was like, what would we post on our page that would make people not only come from their page and actually follow us, or actually come and watch the videos, but actually follow us? And we had a discussion. We were sitting in the kitchen. We was living in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment, and we talked about it. And she said, "How about food reviews? You already kind of try the food that you cook for me anyway. So if you were to go to restaurants, because at that time we were literally only going to like family-owned restaurants and restaurants who cooked very sustained and organic food." Again, don't pay them no attention. They are very energy high.
Too cute to not pay attention to.
It's hard for me not to pay attention. But so we were only going to restaurants that were really focused on the quality of food, because again, I was training so much. And when I wasn't cooking, I was only going to restaurants like that. So she was like, why not just review the restaurants that you go to and just post one review every day until you get on the show? And before we got on the show, I think we were at 1.1 million followers. By the time we got on the show, which was a 2 weeks time span, we were at 4.6 million.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I just kept doing it.
So what do you think, I was going to ask what the pivotal moments where you felt like your career and your socials were really taking off. Were there a few of them? So
the 1.1 million, when we got there, we weren't making any money off of it. I would say we were probably making $200 to $300 a month. We were still on food stamps. We were still trying to figure out how to make money enough to even buy the food to make the food videos. And I have a video on YouTube right now. I don't even think it's archived, but it should be archived. It was a long time ago. But I have a video where I basically went and we passed out food to the less fortunate. And we passed out 50 plates of chili, cornbread, and I think it was like rice. I bought that food off of food stamps in a gift card that I had found under it was like a drawer that we had, like a junk drawer. And instead of using that money for, like I said, going to do anything else, we use it to not only make a video, but also give back to the people who I felt like were the most important to give back to at the time. And yeah, I think the most pivotal moment when it comes to actually seeing it take off was, like I said, we was at 1.1, but it wasn't really, it was only a hobby at that point. But then when we got to the 4.6, I think we got there we went to a place called Frankincense. So Frankincense Pizzeria was one of the first places that we went to we reached out to directly, and they were like, hey, my dad has no idea that we're reaching out to you or we're emailing you. And his restaurant is almost at the point of closing. He's about a week away from closing. And we just want you to come try the food. We don't want anything else. And he said they reached out to 1,000 people or 100 people, and every single person they reached out to wanted to charge them for the review. So I went absolutely no charge to them. We tried the food, and within a 24-hour time span, they were around the corner. It was over 1,000 people in line. And to this day, they're still open, and that was over 3 years ago.
It's amazing.
That was amazing.
You hear a lot in the creator economy about how people like struggle to afford equipment, but like even thinking about the cost of food to start your channel, that's, I mean, does that change how you approach content now? Because you often, a lot of your reviews focus on family-owned restaurants, black-owned restaurants, like making sure you're changing the lives of people. Absolutely. Like it's very empathetically driven.
Absolutely.
Like, is that because you've been through struggling?
Yeah, I've always viewed myself as a small business. As a professional fighter, you are an independent contractor. So when you file taxes, it's as an independent contractor. So any of the money that comes in from fighting has to go directly to either the business of you fighting when it comes to buying equipment, which are like gloves, shin pads for sparring, food, gas, you get into the fight. None of that is sponsored unless you have sponsors, which are really hard to come by when it comes to in an MMA space. So I've always kind of viewed myself in that way. So I understand the struggles of having a small business, right? I understand the struggles of being grassroots and funding everything yourself, and being able to continue staying in that mindset, I think is one of the main reasons why we are where we are today, and speaking in front of y'all, and the fact that y'all want to hear me talk for 30 minutes. So again, I think
it's an hour. It's a long time.
That's even crazier. But yeah, I think that's one of the main reasons why we're blessed enough to be here, is that I keep that in the forefront of my mind when it comes to everything that we do. Because again, I've been there. I understand what comes with it. I understand that there's people behind the restaurants, and it's not just a restaurant. I understand there's people that are literally taking everything they make from the restaurant and feeding their families with it, and making sure the kids can go to school, and putting clothes on the kids' back. That never gets lost on me. So yeah, I think that's why we're here.
And statistically, so many restaurants fail, small
Absolutely.
restaurants. So you are like helping a sector where people are not rolling in it even if they're successful.
Absolutely.
They're still often living kind of very hand to mouth.
That's why I always say I never really consider myself a food creator, because I don't necessarily highlight the best food in each city, or I don't necessarily highlight the most popular spots or spots that other people have been to. I specifically find places that are underprivileged, undermarketed, places that are in food deserts where there's not a lot of attention to those places. And we go to those places for absolutely free, and we provide marketing. And again, I'm just blessed to be here.
I mean, one, that's amazing. Two, it's been really interesting to see. I'm sure you've got a lot of offers of brand deals from like large restaurant chains and stuff. How do you decide where you dedicate your coverage, essentially, like your audience and your community?
Most of the time I tell them I don't want no smoke. I don't want no problems. So I specifically only take brand deals or money from restaurants or money from businesses that have a marketing budget put to the side for people who are in the creator space, or people who are in the space for marketing specifically. So if a restaurant or a business does not have a marketing budget that they set aside quarterly or yearly, I don't take any money from them at all. So we only go to brands who are willing to pay, and we get paid well.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you have such a consistent content format. Mm-hmm. You have catchphrases. Everyone knows when they're watching a video what to expect.
Absolutely, yeah.
How important do you think that consistency is in like getting you to where you are today?
I think about it as like a TV show. So as much as it is just me eating food, I like to think between fighting and, like I said, being a professional athlete from the age of 18, I like to think I'm intelligent. So
you're intelligent.
Yeah, thank you. So I look at a lot of things when it comes, like I said, from a marketing perspective. What's the first thing you think of if I say the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? And the theme song, right? Everybody said Will Smith. Yeah, the first thing you think of when you think of a lot of shows, like Martin, for example, you think of the theme song. That 70s show, you think of the theme song. I think of social media in the same aspect, right? It's a TV show, especially when you drop videos that are 4 or 5 minutes long. It's very hard to keep somebody's attention span for 4 or 5 minutes, especially on TikTok. It's usually 15 seconds, 20 seconds, and then you on to the next. And then you completely forget that person ever existed. So to keep an attention span for 4 minutes, I think of it, like I said, a TV show format. So the intro is very similar. That is always on every video. So that way, if I say, I got it, let's try it, and rate it 1 through 10, you know exactly what's about to happen. You know, after that, I'm about to show the price. I'm gonna talk about the customer service, and then I'm gonna eat the food. And then, if the food is amazing in our opinion, we go in and we leave a generous tip to the restaurant. It's a very, like you said, it's a very similar format. But for me, I like it that way because it gives you something to expect. As the second you see the video, the second you hear me say, I got it, you already know exactly what's about to happen.
It's so interesting because like YouTube, so I used to work at YouTube before founding Digital Voices and help creators grow on the platform. And YouTube, you would know the name of the creator you're searching for, right? Because you watch like 20 or 40 minutes of their videos. Absolutely. Whereas TikTok, because it's content first, you don't necessarily follow a creator, you follow a content or a community, and then that gets served to you. So it's like remarkable that not only do people remember your name, but they also have named the Keith Lee effect. It's crazy.
That was the hardest part, I feel like, especially on TikTok, because I can ask you guys about 100 different people, and more than likely, you're going to attach that person to what you know them for way before you attach them to their name. A lot of people walk up to me in person, they be like, oh, you the food guy. You the dude that be eating food. And then they stand in front of me and they do this. So a lot of times, I'm associated with things more than I'm associated with my name. But I feel honored either way because, again, TikTok is such a fast format and it's such a fast space. And you can literally watch somebody for 15. It's very rare. I'm a person who scrolls on TikTok all the time. So it's very rare for me to leave my For You page and click on somebody's page and watch a whole bunch of videos. And if I do, that means you have very, very, very good content. And I'm blessed enough to be one of those people who people will literally sit and watch hours of, and I'm thankful for it.
That's awesome. So do you track your analytics? Because there are some creators who are like hardcore analytics creators, and there are others who are just like, no, I creatively feel like I know what I'm doing. Do you fall into one camp or both?
I'm fluent, right? So I go back and forth. I'll have times where all I'm doing is watching analytics, and I'll have times where I don't pay attention to them at all. I feel like there's a duality to it. There's a balance. I can get caught up in numbers sometimes, which is very unhealthy to do. But then I can ignore numbers completely, which is also very unhealthy to do when it comes to making videos online. Because again, it's like a TV show. So if you don't know the ratings of your TV show, you don't know what it is that people are expecting you to change or to adapt to when you go to different cities, especially when it comes to a food space, because every single city has a different food space and a different culture about their food. So if I don't pay attention to that at all, then I would be ignorant to going into the next food space. Because if you go into Chicago and you don't know what people in Chicago enjoy eating, and you just eat, like, or if you go to London, for example, right? And you go over there and you eat hot dogs, everybody gonna be like, we don't even eat hot dogs over here.
Well, you call Yorkshire pudding a piece of bread.
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly. Like if I go over there and say, oh yeah, this piece of bread is amazing, and everybody's in the comments like it's Yorkshire pudding. Y'all call everything pudding. Yeah, they got like 10 different puddings, and most of them don't even got pudding in it.
And we don't really eat pudding as well. Like it's not really a thing.
It's bread, it's pudding. It's pig blood, it's pudding.
Oh yeah, black pudding, yeah.
They got all kind of pudding. Whatever they want to call pudding, they just call it.
And it is not like a pudding that you guys eat at all with a spoon. Like it's not that, no.
None of it is gelatinous. It's not soft.
You know, I'm not defending this.
Yeah, most of it is savory too.
Yeah. I spend half my time in America now, so food's really great here. So, okay, I want to talk about community because it's been... Okay, I felt like I knew Ronnie before because I can tell, and you talk about how Ronnie had the ideas for you to like review food. Yeah. Sounds like you've got a really strong community in your own life, which has been like a joy to meet everyone. Absolutely. But that comes across in your content.
Thank you.
How do you build a community online? Like, how do you take that sense of, I don't know, that sense of like, I hate the word authenticity, but like authentically who you are, and kind of build that?
For me, I am who I say I am. So I feel like you can see me sit on stage and you can imagine my head being cut off and me sitting in the car doing this. I'm the exact same person. I really just be chilling. I just turn the camera on, I eat, and then I turn the camera off and I go play with my kids. Again, they sit in front row. So the second this is done, I'm about to go in the back and go play with them and hold this award together. So for me, I think it's a clear balance of making videos and, again, just turning on the camera and eating. The second that gets lost, where you are specifically doing it just for content or you specifically doing it just for the numbers, I think it's time to reevaluate and take a step back and remember what's the reasoning behind what it is that you're doing. For me, I could be making food videos with my kids in the car, with my wife in the car, my sister in the car, and literally have one view, and I'll be completely happy with it. I've done it before, so yeah.
It takes a lot of knowledge of who you are and not getting caught up in a creator economy that often can push you to be very alienated from the life you had.
People don't really speak about that part a lot. There's a demand to be in the spotlight, right? Especially, again, on TikTok, because TikTok is such a fast pace. I'm going to keep saying it because it is extremely fast paced compared to almost every other platform. I'm sure y'all see in the comments, if you don't post something or if you're not outside for, let's say, a month, people be like, oh, he fell off. Oh, there it go. There the fall off. I knew it was coming. So for me, it's really easy to look at it and understand what it is. And I understand people just be talking to talk. They don't really be meaning nothing. But also the side that people don't talk about is that sometimes it does affect you. I have a tattoo on my leg that says if there's no enemy on the inside, the enemy on the outside can do no harm. So if you don't already think it or you don't already have a seed that can be planted, no amount of water can make that seed grow. Yeah. But the second that seed is there, literally anybody can say anything, and that will turn the water for the fuel for the seed to grow. So I like to keep that in perspective, and anytime I do start feeling that, I, again, reevaluate what it is that I'm doing. Anytime those words affect me, I understand it is inside of me, and it's not necessarily the person that's saying it. Yeah.
Gonna TikTok therapize everyone. If it's hysterical, it's historical,
yeah.
right? Like, if it affects you, it affects you for a reason. Yeah,
absolutely.
I love that. Can I go back to the community piece? Because, like, you are very good at involving your audience in, like, how you choose restaurants and making them feel part of the journey. Did you intend to do that? Did you always intend, if you're going to a new city, to ask people? Like, how do you structurally make sure people feel like they have an impact on your content?
So for me, our food tours is specifically based for people like myself who, my wife, again, she's in the front row, she will attest to this. I'm very spontaneous. I just like to jump on a plane and go eat food somewhere. So I structure it like that for the exact same person or the same personality type, right? I don't structure it for a person who can go reach out to the biggest food creator in each city and say, hey, take me around in your $600,000 car and let's go get food together on your super high def camera and let's go sit with 100 people and go eat. I do it for people who are with their families, who want to go to a new food city and want to just walk around and truly just enjoy food and be a foodie. And I think that's why the format is the way it is, or one of the reasons. And again, I respect everybody's culture. While I was fighting, I fought in 10 different countries, and one of the number one things they teach you as an 18-year-old is that you are a professional fighter. And no matter what sense you view yourself as a kid, you have to go and fight a grown man who got kids. So I was fighting people who was 35 years old with full lives. And it was just me and my brother, and we was in South Africa or North Africa. So it's like that grows you up very fast, and it also teaches you to respect people's culture. So when I go to new places and when I go to new cities, I respect the people who are there, and I try my best to listen to them. But I know y'all see the comments. He going to the wrong places. I be trying. I swear I do.
But you can't make everyone happy.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure.
So you've been posting pretty consistently for years, and it sounds like you appreciate the journey and you really enjoy it.
Absolutely.
But do you ever worry about burnout? How do you deal with like creative fatigue?
It happens. It definitely happens. And again, I think that's something that's not really spoke on a lot. It's one of those things with anything, right? If you do something for so long, it just becomes it can become monotonous, right? I actually heard Kevin Hart speak about this earlier on the Breakfast Club. He said, when you do things or when you are in one space, you have to find branches to go off into in that same space. So if you are he kept saying, if you are a stand-up comedian, you have to find things to branch off inside the comedy world that isn't just stand-up. Because if you only do stand-up, after a while, not only will you get complacent with it, your audience will also get complacent with it because they see the same things. So that's why we do things like this. That's why we come talk, and this is a milestone for me to be in a space where I can come sit on a stage and talk for 30 minutes and actually enjoy it. So again, I appreciate y'all. But yeah, so that's why we do things like this. I play basketball a lot. So if you see me randomly at like a 24-hour fitness or LA Fitness, yes, it's me, and yes, I'm just playing basketball.
Is it so you get off your phone?
Yeah, when I tell you, I literally just be walking in random gyms, and people be like, what are you doing? Like, I'm working out like you are. Yeah. And a lot of times I'll be by myself too. So if you do see me outside, please don't be surprised. I be having to tell people that all the time. I be in Walmart. I'd be
You just
walking
need a
around.
moment.
Yeah, I'd just be walking around. Yeah.
I was so stressed for you in Borough Market, like watching the number of people and like the number of people recognize you. I was like, God, he probably wants to really be alone right now.
So Borough Market, that's actually a perfect segue because we went to a place called Borough Market in London, and it was basically like a food mart, right? Or like a, what do you call it? What do you call it? Like a, not a food mart, but like a food market, I guess you would say that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
like a
like
food market. It wasn't that. It was a Disneyland for people who like food. And when I say it was so many people is an understatement.
So many people
It was
just for the
nuts.
chocolate strawberries.
Yeah,
it's
it was
like
nuts. When I tell you, it was easily like 1,000 people. And they were just like swarming around strawberries that had chocolate on them.
Yeah.
It was nuts. It was one of the best experiences I had when we was in London. I loved it.
It's amazing. Our chief technology officer actually had like a full anxiety attack because he was like too many people. Like
packed.
we went there for work and it was like, it has to get out. It's insane.
Y'all
For
do
anyone with social
lines.
anxiety.
Y'all
Yeah, we're
do
really good
lines.
at lines. We love lines.
Sure.
We love the order and the, yeah, no.
Or what y'all call them? Cues. Y'all do cues.
The
Yeah,
cues.
there.
So I was translating.
That's what they call lines. They call lines cues.
I just didn't want to
It's
alienate
a
the
long
audience.
queue today.
Yeah. Oh, it's a long queue. How fun.
Yeah, exactly.
So moving on to the commercial aspects. We loved working with you on DoorDash. And like,
Likewise.
you managed to showcase local restaurants. And then the DoorDash people saying their name was Keith Lee on DoorDash so to see if they got better service or not
Yeah.
was great. But how do you choose your brand deals? Like, and what's important to you?
So for me, I only go to places who have a marketing budget to the side. But past that, I specifically go to places that we actually use on a day-to-day basis. So any restaurant or any business that you see me collabing with, it's because I actually use DoorDash. I used to DoorDash. Yeah, so I was a DoorDasher. Like I said, during 2020, when we were on food stamps, we were trying to figure out how to get the food to make the videos in general. Most of the money that I was using came from DoorDash. Yeah, so it was a seamless transition. And again, I appreciate y'all even for having us at DoorDash, and you guys were amazing to work with.
Thank you.
Yeah,
We've
absolutely.
actually been working with DoorDash on recruitment campaigns for Dashers. And one of the things is like people who are Dashers are often so hardworking, but also like so family oriented.
For sure.
And it's interesting. It's like everything you said. Is,
Yeah, DoorDash ain't no joke. Anybody in here use a DoorDash or do DoorDash?
Yeah.
Y'all some troopers.
Thank you. Cool. So with uncertainty over TikTok and its future, how do you recommend other creators, but also how do you approach diversifying revenue streams?
I think it's easier said than done, right? But the way we looked at it was going to different platforms. She okay? Okay. The way we looked at it was going to different platforms. But again, that's one thing to say. The way we looked at it is going to different platforms. But when TikTok left, or when TikTok was talking about leaving, and they just released a new date to April 5th. And again, I don't think it's going nowhere. It might. Don't clip me if it do go somewhere. But I think it was just one of those things of like I said, going to different platforms. But everybody was kind of devastated over the TikTok thing. So a lot of people who do watch a lot of TikToks was like, I'm not going nowhere. If I don't follow you here, if I don't see you no more, I just don't see you no more. But I think it's really just having faith and understanding I didn't believe I would get here, so I have no idea where I'm going to be in a year or two times. So it's just continue to be myself.
Yeah, you're talking about Twitch, which a lot of people were diversifying to YouTube Shorts and Insta Reels, and you were like, Twitch, and I was just watching you and running like, wow, this is, yeah.
I actually really love Twitch. Shout out to Twitch. I think I'm almost at like 10,000 followers. Shout out to all 10,000 of y'all. God is amazing. Twitch is such a different platform. Like how I said, TikTok is so fast-paced. It's the complete opposite on Twitch. People would sit there for 6 hours and watch you just sit in a room and literally just do that. Like, and it's so complex. It's such a simple thing to say, hey, I'm just sitting on a PC, right, and playing a game. But it's so complex to be doing it. Imagine playing a game and it's 10,000 people watching you, or it's 100,000 people watching you, and you get killed. Then now what you do? It's way more complex than it is. Again, it's a TV show. I like to look at it as iCarly.
Yeah.
You guys remember iCarly?
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's like. And it's like like Casanat, for example. He is Carly. That's 100% who he is. So he's literally running a full TV show, but you get to watch it live. Yeah, I love Twitch. I can really see myself like building a platform over there, and whoever follow me over there, I appreciate y'all.
Amazing. Amazing. So you've seen a lot of creators becoming entrepreneurs. Yeah. Necessary. Cheers. We've seen a lot of creators like go into building their own brands, like Mr. Beast, Logan, Emma Chamberlain. Why do you think those products have been so successful? And do you think that's kind of where the creator economy is going to go in the future?
Yeah, I think the products that are successful are from the people who put a lot of time and effort into it. Like Mr. Beast, for example. We had the pleasure of going and sitting down with him and trying the chocolate. While I wasn't a personal fan of it, and he kind of flipped the table once I said it. He was playing, but he for sure flipped the table. He way bigger than you think he would be. Him and everybody he hang out with, all like 6'5", 6'4". They just all walked in the room all casually, and I was like...
You could fight them, though.
I was like, why are y'all 6'5"? But yeah, we sat and ate the chocolate. He puts a lot of time and a lot of effort into his brand. I think those are the brands that actually do well, and I like to think that I'm one of those people. We have been working on things behind the scenes for a very long time, and I can't wait for them to come out, but I very, very, very much so value every single person in here. I value y'all time, and I value that the fact that y'all are even willing to spend a dime with anything that's attached to me. So I don't take that lightly, and anything that I do, please know from the bottom of my heart, I put a lot of time and effort into it.
So that was going to be my next question. Could you see yourself launching a brand or product?
Absolutely. For sure.
Food related, fighting, fashion? Just goes a genre.
Everything. Yeah,
I'm quite scared now.
I'm kind of like Shaq in the sense. You know, you see Shaq on everything. Shaq don't do nothing. He don't even play basketball no more. Shaq do everything. Yeah, I can see myself in almost every space. The shirt that I have on right now is designed by me and my family, cool. And I can't wait for this to release. We released it in different colors, but we haven't released this color yet. We have hoodies, and we have the merch that popped up, and I said I ate this outfit. That was in one of the outfits that we made, too. So, yeah, it's a bunch of stuff that we have coming out, and shout out to Ben & Jerry's. Yeah, we aren't working with them yet. We are not working with them yet. I want to, so I'm putting this in the universe right now.
We are.
God is listening. Yeah,
well,
I love Ben & Jerry's. So, yeah,
Ben & Jerry's are amazing.
I think there's a lot of things that can happen this year, and I'm just excited.
I would love a Ben & Jerry's collab with you.
I felt my manager about to jump on the stage when I said that. Yeah, but no, we aren't working with them yet, but I would love to, for sure.
Cool, awesome. So what advice would you give to brand marketers who are looking to partner with creators? Have we got any marketers in the room? Anyone who works in influencer marketing? Good, cool, yay, woo!
Shout out to y'all.
Well done, you're all in the trenches. Negotiating a brand deal for someone and you're like, oh, that's my annual salary for 60 seconds.
I think marketing is a huge thing, right? Because again, as somebody who follows marketing and somebody who's blessed enough to help other people market, like you said, authenticity, I think it's a hard word to use because everybody thinks that they're being themselves. It's easier said than done, right? You don't realize you're being influenced by outside influences until somebody else's, until the experience either shows you or somebody else shows you. But one of the best companies that we did work with was Digital Voices. So shout out to Digital Voices and the partnership that we did with DoorDash. It was amazing. So I feel like any advice I would personally give is know the person that you're reaching out to. There's been so many cases and so many times where people have reached out and they'll be like, oh, we love your family. Don't you got like 6 kids? I'll be like, no.
Oh my
I got
God.
2 of them. So it's easier said than done to look at 2 or 3 videos and automatically think you know the person, right? Yeah. I think as a marketer, and I have to do this myself when it comes to restaurants, is really taking the time and knowing and learning about who it is that you have in a conversation with before you have a conversation with them. I think that was the biggest takeaway for me.
And I think in influencer marketing, you're so right. There's so much pressure often to run campaigns at scale. Mm-hmm. Do you see a lot of agencies trying to cut corners? Mm-hmm. So instead of like, they won't even write bios about creators. They'll just send a brand like a list of links. Mm-hmm. And the brand's like, oh, so I'm supposed to just click on these TikTok links and approve someone or not. So the brand doesn't know someone. It's partly because the agency is like, everyone's busy. Everyone, like, no one means to do it. And then the other thing that we do to try and make it a bit better is we do like onboarding calls for every campaign. Mm-hmm. So again, like taking the time to like actually chat with a creator and be like, hey, here's what the brand wants. What do you think? Mm-hmm. Takes so much time. And if you're like, I mean, I'm the CEO, like I could cut these corners to maximize profitability, but the content you get is so much better if you have those conversations and if you learn who the creators are, that it transforms the entire campaign. So I think, I know we're all under pressure to like get loads of stuff done, but if you can take the time to make sure the quality is really good, I think it will pay dividends.
Yeah, quality over quantity for sure. And I think another takeaway I would have is let the person, you're reaching out to the person for a reason, right? Let that person be that person. I think it's so often that we reach out to people or people reach out to us and they just look at the numbers, right? They're like, oh, he has 17 million followers. He would be amazing for this campaign. But the campaign has nothing to do with what it is that we do, right? I think the main thing when it comes from a marketing standpoint is, again, know who you're reaching out to and have a feel of what would work with that person. If you try and get me to be in a music video, it ain't gonna work. I can't dance. So it's like, you gotta know me before you reach out. And I've said it 1,000 times, I can't dance. So if you don't know I can't dance, it's because you didn't look up the fact that I can't dance.
Watch the content.
For sure. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Just know who it is that you're reaching out to for sure.
Amazing. And then do we have any like content creators or aspiring content creators in the room? Well done. Applause
Keep
for
going,
you.
man.
Like, keep going. I was going to ask, do you have any advice for those content creators who are starting out or trying to scale? And how do you set your business up, like a business up for? How do you set a business up for success?
So for me, I think the biggest advice that I ever get when it comes to content creator is don't pay attention to anybody else, right? Again, it's easier said than done, but everybody else's role looks completely different. And there's no such thing as an overnight success. It may look like an overnight success, but what you don't see is the 4 or 5 years of being in the trenches and having 0 views, 100 views, 200 views, doubting yourself, having thoughts of not posting. It's been so many times where I will be in a position like that. And what I really want to make apparent is that never changes, right? If you have 200 views, you can look at somebody with 10,000 views and be like, oh, I can't wait till I get 10,000 views. Then once you get 10,000 views, you're going to look at a person who has 100,000 views and be like, I can't wait to get to 100,000 views. That never stops. So for me, what you do with a little is what you do with a lot. So if you can stop those habits or stop those thoughts at the very ground roots level, it's nothing that will be able to stop you.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Absolutely. Because I'm telling you, it's been times where I'll get 2 million views on a video, and I'll be like, but the last video got 20 million or 25 million, and you start comparing it, but then you can remember yourself 4 years ago being like, bro, if I get 10,000 views, I'm about to have a great day. And now you complain about 2 million views. It's very easy to do.
I think you raised a really interesting point on the like overnight success thing as well. Sure. Like everyone seems to be looking for a silver bullet or the email or the moment that changes your life, but like actually you need like, as an entrepreneur, you need like 20 silver bullets, and then probably 3 of them will come off, and they'll come off at a smaller scale, and then that's what changes your life. It's like consistent grit, which I think you've epitomized.
Yeah. So I was on Vine before Vine got cut off. I was an Instagram comedian at one point, before Instagram even allowed you to post videos. So the second they allowed us to post videos, that was back in like 2014. I started posting like skits and everything. So this is not an overnight thing. I've been making videos online for, what we in, 25? So almost 11 years. But I took a very big hiatus after I got out of high school because, so I'm originally from Detroit. I moved to Vegas when I turned 18. Shout out to Detroit. I heard the little whoop. There's one of us in here. Shout out to Detroit. Shout out to Detroit. So I was born and raised there. I moved when I was 18. Once I moved when I was 18, I went straight to Vegas, and my parents gave me an option. It was like, hey, either you can graduate now, because it was in April in the middle of my senior year. So they was like, either you can graduate now, or we can enroll you into a school in Vegas, and you can go to prom, you can go to graduation, and you can like basically finish your year off with them, but you have no idea who these people are. And I was like, no, I'd rather just become an adult right now. It was a traumatic experience, but in hindsight, it made me who I am today. So that's why I took a hiatus off of social media, and that's why my social anxiety got so bad, because I was uprooted from literally my entire life in the middle of my senior year. So I've never been to a graduation. Middle school, elementary, I've always been in trouble when I was a kid. So elementary school, middle school, or high school, I've never been to a prom. I've never been to any of that. So as a kid, when you 18 to like 23, 24, that is not only a lot to deal with, but it's also a lot to do that and be a professional athlete. So the second I got out of that, I went straight into being a professional athlete. So it put me in a bubble, in a cocoon of like, I'd rather just not talk to anybody. And if I do talk, I'm not going to open up because I don't think you're going to understand what it is that I'm saying. And if you do understand, I'm afraid of it being ripped away from me because I'm trauma bound by the fact that I literally just got up and moved in the middle of the country. When I tell you we jumped in a Nissan Altima with 2 bags apiece and it was 6 of us. Y'all know how small the Nissan Altima is? It was 6 people and we literally had 2 bags apiece. But again, I'm thankful to be here today.
But you're right, that's the stuff people don't see. And they often don't ask about either, because they just want to hear how you make it.
For sure.
You said something really interesting. So last question from me, and then we've got, if you want to submit questions via the app, you can.
How are we feeling out there?
Yeah?
Yeah, amazing. I appreciate y'all again.
You said something where you said you've always thought about yourself as an entrepreneur because you're a fighter. What is one piece of business advice that if you could go back to yourself 4 years ago and give yourself this business advice, what would it be as a creator? Because I feel like there are lots of people in this room who might see themselves as a creator but not feel like confident in the entrepreneur business side.
From a business perspective, that's a great question. I'm going to ponder on this one for a second because I think this is a great question. I think, not to say all the questions look great, but this is my favorite so far.
No, thank you.
So I think when it comes to advice business-wise, right, that I would tell myself as a creator or, because again, it's hard because I don't see myself as a creator. I just see myself as like more of an entrepreneur, if anything. Something that I would tell myself as an entrepreneur, not only save money, Uncle Sam, don't be playing. Taxes is real. That is not a joke. Not only from a save money perspective, but I would, honestly, I would thank myself if I could go back and have a conversation with younger me more than give myself advice because I was able to listen to that voice. I was able to have no idea where it was going to take me, but I always had a vision that I was going to be somewhere, right? And I think it's special to, not everybody has that. And if you are a person that's in this room that has that, don't take advantage of it and cherish it for everything that's worth. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but it's gonna happen one day. There's a reason why you have that vision that you're gonna be somewhere and that you're gonna be somebody. That's not by luck or by chance. And I think that's what I would tell my younger self. I wouldn't necessarily ask for advice, I would just say thank you. Yeah. That's why I had to ponder on it, because I felt like it was a deep question.
That ties in so nicely with you saying that, like, you wanted to appreciate the experiences.
Absolutely.
Because you're right, if you go back, give yourself advice, you're trying to shortcut the growth.
Absolutely.
But like everything that happened
Absolutely.
led you to who you are today.
Absolutely. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all the things that I went to. I always say things don't happen to you, they happen for you. Yeah. For sure.
We have some really good questions here. One of them, it's gone, but it was, is there anything you hope the next generation will learn, like your daughters will take away from your content?
Integrity. I think that's the biggest thing. It's very easy to grab any fruit that you see hanging, right? But if you operate from a place of desperation, you will stay in a place of desperation. That's one thing that I really want to show my kids and teach my kids. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen, and it's going to happen when it's supposed to happen. You just have to allow it, and again, you have to go through, you have to grow through what you're going through. I know y'all was expecting me to come up here and talk about food, and we up here giving motivational quotes. I'm not doing it on purpose, I promise.
I'd much rather this be a deep conversation rather than like, what's your favorite pizza ever?
For sure. For sure. But yeah, that's what I would teach them.
That's great. I love that. Will there be a Keith Lee restaurant?
You know what? We've talked about it. We've had like, we call them boardroom meetings where we literally just sit and talk for hours. My manager be getting sick of me because I literally keep her on the phone. She got a 4-month-old, and I keep her on the phone all day. She's like, I gotta go watch my kid. Like, leave me alone.
Run her business, watch her kid, look after the other 22 talent. She's like, Keith, you're just one person.
Yeah, for sure. So my brain runs a lot. I'm a very overthinker, and I think of things constantly. And there's a restaurant idea that we have thought about, one of many that I'll share. It's a concept that is basically like the restaurants that we've been to, right? We find like 5 of the top-rated restaurants that we've been to, and we have and we have a restaurant or a space that's called like the family kitchen, right? And it's a seasonal or a rotational menu where these 5 chefs come in, or at one at a time, 6 months at a time, and they cook their favorite dishes, and you can come, you can enjoy their favorite dishes from around the world.
I love that.
What y'all think about that?
Love that.
Yeah. Would y'all come? Okay, don't say that now. I'm gonna hold you to it. I remember faces.
There's a restaurant in Lebanon that brings in like
For sure.
older women. It's like in Beirut, but it brings in older women from different areas of all of Lebanon.
I've seen that. Yeah,
and
yeah.
Oh my God, I mean, tough place to go, but like a food tour, that would be great. But it's so interesting because you get to experience like that type of very personal connection with different regions and chefs.
For sure.
Yeah, cool. So what do you think a healthy relationship looks like between restaurants and influencers, like especially independent restaurants that you help who are under so much pressure to like pay a creator and go viral, but who have really limited budget? And that question from Byron, where are you, Byron? Because that was a really good question.
Shout out to Byron.
Yeah.
I don't know where he at.
Yeah.
Is that Where's Waldo?
Yeah, but Byron's in front of Where's Waldo.
No.
Anyway.
I just saw the sweater.
Yeah, sweater and hat. I was like, yeah. So go on. What do you
I love the outfit, by the way. So I think the number one advice I would get at restaurants is, again, is easier said than done, but coming from a place of desperation only leads to more desperation, right? We have to also understand that we can't villainize creators that want to get paid for reviews, or because it's a lot of money and a lot of effort that goes in behind the scenes. When we go to cities, we literally pay for our own Sprinter bus, we pay for our own flights, we pay for our own gas, our own food. So it's a lot that goes behind the scenes. And again, we travel with our kids everywhere. So none of that is cheap, especially in today's economy. Everybody know it's high right now.
It's getting so expensive.
It's super expensive. Even in London, it was really expensive out there. Very.
Like London, did you learn the slang for the cost of living crisis?
No.
Cosy lives.
Cozy lives?
Cosy lives. The
Cozy?
cost of living crisis is so bad that they invented slang, cosy lives.
Are you saying costy?
Cosy.
Cosy.
Cosy. Cosy lives.
Cosy.
Cosy lives.
Cosy. I don't think I can say that without having the accent. Cosy.
I'd love to see a US equivalent though. Cosy lives. But yeah,
Cosy lives.
Yeah, it gets,
Understood?
that was great. That was good.
But I think that it's easy to look at what we do and expect everybody to have the same model. And I don't think it's fair to other people. And I have full respect for the people that do charge, because again, I fully understand it. Again, everybody's walk is different. So I would say when it comes to restaurants that are reaching out to people, I would stay within a budget, because this is what I love about social media, especially TikTok again. Every single person has the same exact odds of doing what it is that we do. There's no secret method. There's no paid views. There's no bots that we have or no advantage that we have that other people don't have. You literally, somebody with 100 followers could have a video that has 30, 60 million views, the same as somebody with 17 million followers. So I would say, don't necessarily look at the follower count. Again, it's the same advice for marketing. Look at people who share the same values that you do, and look at people who content that you actually watch or that you actually enjoy when you reach out to them.
I really hope there's going to be the death of the follower count as like a vanity metric in 2025.
For sure.
I mean, yeah, but
like I said, it's easier said than done. People look at followers and be like, oh, he got 17 million followers. Every video is going to do crazy. It don't. It don't.
Lots of viewers have. So
yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
For sure.
Okay, so this is an interesting one. Do you ever worry about staying healthy? Like having come from fitness and like talking about food as fuel and the weight classes and stuff. Do you have advice for people who are like worried about, who love food, but are worried about overeating and staying healthy?
I think it's with everything, right? There has to be duality. There has to be some kind of balance within the two, right? I play basketball a lot and I run a lot. Bless you, Bum. I run a lot. I actually just was in Miami and I ran on South Beach by myself. And again, people were looking at me like, what are you doing? Like, why are you randomly on South Beach? And I think the blessing of that is a lot of people think a lot of people look like me. So when people do see me in person, they just assume I'm somebody who looked like Keith Lee, and I'm not Keith Lee. But I would say the number one thing for me is once the camera does cut off, I will reassure a lot of people, I don't eat most of the food that you see. I taste the food, and if it's amazing, now if it's over 9, I'm eating the whole plate. And I'll say it in the video, like, I'm about to eat this, and I don't be playing. I really be eating it. But if I don't say that, more than likely, I'm literally going to taste it and then go about the rest of my day. In my day-to-day eating, I eat very healthy.
How's your restaurant experience moving from Vegas to Texas? Do you miss
Texas.
Las Vegas food?
I love Texas. Shout out to Texas.
Yeah.
Texas is amazing, man.
Best barbecue here? Oh, Sorry.
Wait, nah.
I just really want to divide the room.
No, I hear Austin got some amazing barbecue. So I can't say it yet because I ain't been to Austin barbecue yet. So
yeah.
I got to leave a space for number one before I give a number one. Because I hear Austin got amazing barbecue. I hear San Antonio got amazing barbecue. We've only been to Dallas and Houston when it comes to Texas. And I know Texas people don't play. So you're not about to get me in trouble. I ain't had it yet. So there's no best barbecue yet. But Texas in general, the barbecue I've had is amazing.
I have a question that I think is fitting given your managers here. When you were growing as a creator, how did you go about getting management and representation, and how did you know you made the right choice?
So my brother was a professional fighter before me. He was signed with CAA. He's been signed with CAA for almost 12 years. And CAA, for those that don't know, is an agency. It's one of the biggest agencies in the world, if not the biggest agency. At the time, I only had the experience of watching him with an agency. And I saw how many people he interacted with on a daily basis. When you speak to an agent, you can either speak to the agent or you can speak to 10 other agents in that same realm, right? I didn't like that non-personable feel. I like a very family-oriented thing in every single thing I do. So everybody on my team is family. Our assistant, that's my cousin. My security, that's my cousin. My sister, that's my sister. So literally everything that I do is surrounded by family. And I genuinely, and I'm not saying this because she's either sitting right here or that we work together, that is family. And I mean it from the bottom of my heart. So that's how I went about picking, is I got reached out to by every single agency. And again, that's why I said I never operate from a place of desperation, because when I got reached out to by the agencies when everything took off, I understood that they were only reaching out because they saw the numbers. It wasn't enough time to know who I was as a person or know what my content was about for you to automatically be like, oh, we really want to work with you. You only seeing that we gained 6 million followers in a matter of a week and a half.
You see the dollar signs.
Exactly. Yeah. So for me, when she reached out, she literally said, I can't sign you right now even if I wanted to, because I'm super busy and it's just me by myself. And she said, I only work with...
Basically negged you into
She literally told me, like, even if I wanted to work with you, I couldn't. And she was like, I only work with women at the time, and women of color at that. And she was like, you literally would be the only man that's on my entire roster. And with the number that you have, I don't have time for it right now. So I'm just reaching out to you to tell you that you could be making a lot more money than what you're making right now. And I said, tell me more.
Where do I sign?
I said, is this reverse psychology?
Yeah.
So we had a conversation, and she literally had the exact same energy on the phone. And she was like, I've been working in this space, and I have a very big passion for not only helping women of color, but helping people of color in general get the recognition and the money that they deserve. And I would love for you to get the money that I know you deserve. And I was like, I know you said you can't sign me, but I need you to sign me.
Can you hire someone else?
Yeah, exactly. We had a conversation like that, and then literally within a week, we signed to each other, and she brought my first 6-figure deal in within a week.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah. Also, young female entrepreneur. Do you want to stand up?
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, come
Shout
on.
out to Elena, man. Yeah, shout out to Elena.
You to especially have this astronomical rise and to work with someone for 2.5 years, that shows a lot. So, yeah, congratulations. Do you want to swap
please
friends?
give it up for my wife and my sister. Yeah. Please. Without them, I wouldn't be here from the bottom of my heart.
Do you want to swap questions and you ask me, swap roles and you ask me a question?
Oh, I asked you a question.
Someone's asked one for me, so I figure I shouldn't read it myself.
For Jennifer.
Thank you, Donovan.
What emerging trends do you see in creator monetization that will shape brand partnerships over the next year? From Donovan Curry.
Donovan, where are you? Thank you.
Shout out to Don.
Cool. Thank you, Donovan.
I can call you Don? Shout out to Don.
Thank you. So I think we're seeing a real shift towards not just creators as these aspirational figureheads, but creators as cultural and community translators, which is, I think, really shifting the way brands should think about working with them. So I think we're seeing creators like Twitch or Substack or Discord who have their own communities that they own, and brands paying to access those, or brands choosing to support creators building their own communities. I think the other thing we're going to see a lot of is the Refi beauty trip, creators basically also helping advertise or run competitions for brands to reward communities. So bringing big fans of Refi on a trip with creators. So Keith could try and find DoorDash superfans through his content, and then DoorDash could reward them and Keith together. And I think that's where, like, this is the year, partly because of the insane, like, rising cost of living, this is going to be the year where brands really try and celebrate the consumer, because they need to cultivate brand loyalty. So, like, you saw Taco Bell put, like, people in drive-thrus in the Super Bowl ad. Like, the whole joke was, like, we're not doing celebrities, we're celebrating people. And I think that's going to be a huge shift in marketing, because otherwise, why, when you're in a supermarket, would you buy something that's twice the price of another item? So they need you to be loyal, and I think they're going to try and do that in really smart ways.
Shout out to Don. That's a great question.
Jonathan, thank you.
You got a dope name, too.
Yeah, I know.
Don Curry? That's a dope name.
Yeah, that's great. It is, sorry. You're going to get loads of LinkedIn followers now. Sorry, that's where my brain goes, LinkedIn. Oh, how sad. I love this question. I think we've got time for 2 more. So how can creators be helpful in other aspects of social, the way that you help save food businesses? So fitness, self-help, vlogs, like how do you see other creators like applying that Keith Lee approach of celebrating communities and people who are struggling to other businesses?
That's a great question. I wouldn't necessarily say be like me, because I will be the first one to admit I'm kind of crazy. So again, when I wasn't making no money and when I wasn't bringing no money in, I literally had to convince my wife of, like, I'm not going to charge these businesses. That's an easier conversation, easier said than done conversation. Again, when you on food stamps and you don't know where the next month rent is going to come from. I think, again, I've been punched in the face for a long time. So I have a very deep faith in what it is that I'm doing. But I would say when it comes to taking it to other aspects, that's a great question. I would say highlight other people that are in a space with you, right? I think it's one thing to do collaborations, right? But there's another thing to highlight other people who might have a smaller platform than you do. Kai, for example, I love that he has a segment where he brings on smaller streamers, and he goes on smaller streamers and he shows their stream to everybody that's in his stream. So his stream could have 200, 300,000 people in it, and he'll go on a stream with somebody who has 10 followers or 10 people. And by the time he leaves their stream, that person has 100,000 followers or 20,000 followers. I think that's a way that you can do it in almost every aspect, right? Just taking the time out to acknowledge the people who are also in the same space as you, and people that, again, like I said, I've always viewed myself as a business owner, people who are in the same space, that you understand the struggles that they go through, and you understand some of the plight that they have to go through in order to be where they are.
I love that. Like, one of my favorite things, you know the trends on TikTok where they find people who have been posting on YouTube for like years who have 0 views?
Yeah, I love that.
And it's like a guy with his fish, and then he's got like 100,000 subscribers overnight. That I'm just like, oh, sure. Gary with a fish.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, I think we've got time for, this is so hard, but there are some really, really good questions here.
Can I pick one and we ask somebody in the crowd?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
Who want to answer a question? Orange?
Okay. You just
Can I call you Orange? Okay.
Yeah, okay. Okay, which question do you want?
Let's see. How do you find a balance between the business side of being an influencer or whatever it is that you do versus the creative content side? If you want to answer it.
Do you want to answer it? We're not allowed to let people ask questions. Do you want to answer it? Are you a creator? Do you have an answer for that?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, we just talked about spotlighting people, so I figured this works perfectly. Southside is going to kick us out. Southside will be like, you're tough.
Basically, how do you find a balance between your work life and your personal life?
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. I appreciate you.
My name is Chelsea Mendez. I am a 20-year-old graduating senior at Spelman College.
Everybody give it up for Chelsea. That's hard.
Thank you. Majoring in political science on the pre-law track, an aspiring entertainment lawyer and a content creator with a platform called Before You Get Signed that just helps content creators and creatives within the Atlanta University Center get a better understanding of the terms within their contracts so that they don't get exploited. So I say all of that to say I strike.
That's amazing. Yeah, shout out to Chelsea again.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So I strike a balance between my personal life and my brand. I would say just by reminding myself of the reason why I started. And you had mentioned that before, just knowing your why and not letting that fade from your, I guess, the center of your mind. What first drew me to entertainment law and just advocacy at the start was my parents. Both of them are entertainers, and they signed contracts that waived their ownership of their musical catalog. And that just opened my mind to the larger problem within the entertainment industry, being that creatives who look like me seldom have ownership over what they create. And I want that to stop, and I'm going to make that stop. So that's where Before You Get Signed was born. Yeah.
Shout out to Chelsea, man. Thank you for answering that.
Also, I'm sorry, but I have an annual symposium that I host at Spelman. Its inaugural year was last year, and it just teaches creatives exactly what I just told you, just about protecting their IP. And I would love to have a fireside chat with you this year.
That's
and I made a note to speak with you. Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
Thank you, Chelsea.
There was a sneaky second part to that question that I think everyone would want to know from Keith. What's your favorite food you've ever reviewed?
Ooh.
Someone was like, I think Tanner, who asked that, had in brackets, like, also. I was like, wow.
Okay.
Dropping a difficult question in the parentheses.
Can I give you my favorite food cities instead of the favorite food? Because I feel like we eat so much, it's hard to say the actual food. My favorite food city, I'll give you my top 3, personally. New Orleans is number 1. Chicago would be number 2.
Yeah.
And somebody said Atlanta. And I'm tied for my 3, but either Houston or Toronto. Yeah, I love Toronto.
That poutine.
For sure.
Okay.
Boston? I haven't been there yet. I hear y'all do a lot of seafood.
Okay. Yeah.
Understood. I'm allergic to seafood. Aww.
On that note, can we say a massive, massive thank you to Keith for being here and being so open.
Man.
Thank you to your family for coming as well. Yeah, thank you.
Shout out to Digital Voices.
Thank you very
That is amazing. Thank you, guys.